All right, welcome to the Demonic Discussions Podcast, Episode 2. I am your co-host with the most, Cameron Pierce, and I am joined today by Jake Phillips and Macy Monahan, if you'd like to say hello, guys.
Hello.
And today we got some special guests with us today on this episode. We have the Northwest Possessed Slider team from Washington. I'm going to be going down the line. If y'all can go down the line, introduce yourself a little bit, how long you've been haunting, what's your characters, just general stuff to get to know you a little bit better.
All right, so Angel,
ladies
go ahead
first.
and go
I'm not rude. I'd say ladies first.
Okay.
Okay.
My name is Emma. I've been haunting for 10 years, sliding for 2. My main character is my slider. She's a clown. Her name's Beep Beep, and she is about 1.5 years old.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Maddie, you're up next.
Hi there, my name is Maddie. I have been working on a haunt for about 3 years now and sliding for 2. My haunt character's name is Sunny D, and I play a clown.
Okay. Angel, what's up?
Hi, everybody. My name is Angel. I'm originally from Southern California. I have been in the haunt industry for 17 years, and I have been sliding for 17 of those years. So I've been doing it since day one. I now reside here in Seattle, and I work for the Nile Nightmares as their first slider and starting their first slider team. So it's been quite a trip. It's been quite an interesting 17 years.
Real question is, how many knee replacements have you had to have?
Oh my goodness. Luckily, not one yet. So we're still good in that department. I'm definitely like chalking up on the health insurance, but I take care of myself. I take my vitamins. I listened to Hulk Hogan back in the day. I said my prayers, took my vitamins, and I Hulk out.
Oh yeah, I know the slider gig is a little rough because I know our sliders at Netherworld, they're so hyped up. They're just going wild on that first night. They come back to casting after the first night. They're like, oh my God, I want to hang myself.
I'm just always ready to pass away after like the first night of sliding. I go up and I lay down and I'll just pass away in the middle of the green room.
I remember your first time, Emma. You came out, you tried it out, and about 20-30 minutes into the session, you were like, okay, I don't want to play anymore.
Nope, this is a lot.
The amount of Epsom salt that I go through just like day to day, it's a little ridiculous during haunt season.
Oh yeah.
Probably enough salt to melt the ice on roads, right?
It's a lot of investment in icy hot.
See, I'm a little bit of a sadist when it comes to the haunt stuff because I refuse to take any painkillers. I refuse to take Epsom salt. I refuse anything. I live through the pain.
Just raw dog in life.
Oh, yes, sir.
I'll take the painkillers, but I don't do the Epsom salt or anything. I live off of painkillers.
I have a quote, and it's, you can't spell art without pain, but the pain is silent.
Beautiful wording there.
And I feel like that applies a lot to haunting, in my opinion, because it's a painful hobby, if you ask me.
Nobody said it was a gentle thing to do. Nobody says, oh yeah, no, this feels like floating on a cloud when you slide. Not at all. Nobody ever said that. No. They always ask, like, does that hurt? I'm like, no, it tickles.
In the famous words of Buzz Lightyear, you're falling with style.
Exactly.
Literally.
I believe those were Woody's words first.
So, all right. Oh yeah. But we're gonna go on and get into some questions for y'all. So I kind of warned y'all a little bit. Be ready because we're gonna be picking y'all's brains a good bit on character psychology, scare psychology. We're getting deep into stuff on this episode, so buckle on in. But we're going to start off real easy. So first question for all y'all, and I'll start with Angel, and we can run down the line from there. What made you want to get into the haunt business?
Ooh, good question. I started going to haunts back when I was a teenager, back in junior high to high school. My buddy had taken me for the first time, and I had heard about it. And this is Knott's Berry Farm, so this is the big one in Southern California. So everybody else, I don't want to say imitates it, but they did kind of start the first big haunt. And so it was kind of a rite of passage. You would go, you would check it out, and you were cool with your friends if you went. So I went and I tried it out, and I was scared. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't see, I hadn't heard anything before. This was the days way before like Yelp and anything like that. So uh, we went, enjoyed it. I was like, hey, this is really cool. But I didn't think nothing of it. I just I would go every year, and it was neat and it was nice. And then I left high school and started working the amusement park circuit. So basically I started at Knott's Berry Farm as a ride operator and a tour guide. And that first year working, I got to see like kind of the behind the scenes stuff for all the haunt monsters. And I thought to myself right off the bat, man, I want to do this. And my best friend at the time had become a monster. He had been a monster for about 2 or 3 years, I believe. And he was starting to get into sliding, and I was getting all excited about him doing it. And before you know it, I was like, okay, you know what? I want to do this. But if you're working there, you can't be a monster as well. Well, back in the day, you couldn't be a monster as well. And so you had to be one or the other. But life gets in the way, and before you know it, I'm working for Disney at Disneyland, and scheduling just would not allow it. You could not get those weekends off at all, so nothing ever came of it. And after a few years, you kind of stop thinking about it, and then you're like, you know what, I need something to just oomph my life. And in 2004, my buddy had decided to leave Knott's Berry Farm, and we went to the Queen Mary just to give it a shot. And we were hired the same day, and I have not looked back since. It's been nuts.
I was about to say, because I see the hat that you're wearing right now.
Oh yeah,
and Jake, I think I've heard you say that Queen Mary's is on your bucket list to see at some point in your life.
It definitely is.
Oh, I got to tell you guys, it's one of the big dogs up here or down in Southern California. It came from nothing. It was just a cardboard walls and plywood doors type haunt back in the beginning, and then right around 2010, a new company came in and basically just created what they are now, and that was the Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. Before then, it was called Shipwreck, and it happened every year, but it was a good production, but it was real budget production, real like backyard haunters just had all this room to do this stuff, and that's what it felt like. But when Queen Mary came in, whole new show. It's entertainment. It was rides. It was alcohol in the lines and alcohol in the mazes. It was incredible, and to this day, it's still great. Hopefully, it comes back. I don't know, but we'll all have to see what happens after this is all done with.
Oh yeah. All right, Emma, would you like to go on? I know you pretty well, but I think this is gonna be a pretty interesting story to hear.
Yeah, I kind of always grew up in horror. Like, my mom made sure that, because she's a horror addict too, so like I grew up watching all the horror movies. Like, my earliest memory that I always tell people is like watching The Creature of the Black Lagoon with my mom. And I was just like asking her all the questions, and she was honest with me about like the film and stuff and how it was made. And I was like, well, how did they do the monster? And she's like, that's a man in the suit. And I was like, well, I want to do that. That's cool. I'm gonna do that. And so I want to say, yeah, I was 15. And my mom started bugging me about it, actually. She's like, you should like look into haunted houses. Like, I know a lot probably won't hire, but you should look into them. And I found Fear the Woods, which is the one Cameron started at too. Woo woo. And I just went in, and because they had a rule where you had to be 16, and I just like poured my heart and soul out to Miss Susie, and I was like, I just really want to do this. And she kind of like hired me under the table for that year, and I just haven't stopped. And I moved up here, and I found a haunt coincidentally, literally right down the street from where I first lived. And I was like, I think I'll join them, see what's up. And it's been almost 5 years since. And the way I got into sliding was, this was when we started our Christmas haunt when you joined, right, Angel?
Yeah, and I believe it was 2017. Like I had moved up here to Seattle just to kind of look at the haunts, and I found Nile Nightmare first, and so I was like, "This is probably the only one I can slide at. Let me see if they're interested." And sure as stuff, they said, "Yeah, come on down, give it a try," and then I found you.
But yeah, and I didn't act during that Christmas season because I was just going through some stuff, so I took that season off for me. And I remember Teresa sent me videos of you sliding and how you wanted to make a team. And she was like, you always want to do weird, wacky, wild things. You should try it. And then we went to the first lesson. And then I remember it took me forever to slide because, you know, you're running knee first onto concrete. So your brain's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You dummy. But then once I got over that fear, though, I just want to do it all the time. I love it.
Yeah, no, I've talked to you because I'm going to be getting my new slider gear stuff because I had been sliding like just on my own, not at haunts, but just because I loved doing stuff like that for about a year. I've been just kind of working with it a little bit. And I was using some old like baseball catcher's gear as my first knee pads. And sure enough, those are completely blown out. And then I went and bought another pair with a friend of mine, Brandon, who is now moved off. He still has that pair, so I'm actually going to be setting up, if you guys know him, Cody Wright, Slider Jesus over in Midnight Terror in Chicago. He uses Menards rocker like construction knee pads, but he uses Spark Pucks to preserve the pad. Nice. So I'm going to be setting that up. I know I talked to Emma about next time she comes over here for a visit, we're going to have to meet up for a slider meetup at some point.
Correction, I actually still have the knee pads. Brandon never got them out of my car. If you want them, please take them.
Thank you for telling me. I'll be over at your house tomorrow to get them.
Please. You're taking up so much room.
All right. Maddie, how about you?
Yeah, my story's a little different. I actually started as a makeup artist, and I started at the Nile doing makeup because I was really interested in special effects, and I just graduated from my makeup school. So my teacher said, hey, there's this haunt, they need some people. So I went and I joined, and I was doing makeup, and one of the nights, Teresa, our stage production person, she said, we're really low on clowns, can you pop in? And me being a makeup artist, I was dressed to the nine in heels, so I did my first haunt acting night in stilettos. It was yeah, oh my gosh, that was a moment. I was
shook because I think that was a night I could walk through, and every time I walk through I'm like, she's still in them.
Oh my gosh, I was ready to drop. I thought sliding was bad. Try haunting in heels. That was a moment. But
I'm in pain thinking about it.
Yeah, so I had to wear a clown jumpsuit. It was like a prisoner jumpsuit with UV grossness painted all over. And I would like lunge out at people. But of course, it was my first night. I was a makeup artist. I didn't know how to do it. So I would jump out, slap my arm, and I didn't realize that over time that built up. And at the end of the night, I had a fat bruise. And I was like, wow, okay, that's my introduction to haunt acting, is in heels and a giant bruise from that. So, of course, I fell in love with it afterwards, and Teresa put me in as a clown multiple times, and I started to fall in love with it more. And then only a couple years ago I started joining Angel at practices, and he's been teaching us how to slide and building his team, so it's been a lot of fun.
The legend of Sunny D.
Yeah, pretty much.
Started in heels.
And might I say, because I've been... Go on, sorry about that. You can continue on, Maddie. Sorry about that.
Oh, no, you're fine. You completely cut out, so I don't know what's up with my internet, but try that one again.
Oh. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I've been you can call it borderline stalking if you want. I call it simply gathering research on all of y'all. And I've noticed, obviously, I know you well enough, Emma, to know that you're a very heavy makeup person when it comes to your characters. You prefer doing the makeup more, if that is a correct assumption?
I prefer being in a heavy makeup. It's usually other people are doing my makeup. I've been working on being more confident in bringing my own makeups to it. Like Beep Beep's original makeup was something I came up with, and I usually I like to have other people do my makeup because I show them a picture and I kind of tell them a little bit about her, and then I'm like, put a twist on it, like make it your own, like take what I'm saying and tell me what you see.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun because then Beep Beep just kind of constantly evolves through that, because if there's something one artist does that I like, I'm like, okay, cool, let's try and keep that aspect in it.
Okay. And that actually kind of leads into my next question for all of you, which is, this is a heavily debated topic in the haunt world, and that is mask or makeup. So we got Emma's response. Angel, how about you?
Well, for me, it can be both. Looking back on it, when I first started haunting back in 2004, we had masks because we just didn't have time or a makeup department to speak of. There was a few people who could do makeup, but you had 150 monsters trying to get out there before 8 o'clock, and you all got there at 7, and good luck. So to do anything like we were doing, like sliding, we don't have time. And even if we do have time, we're going to be running around and sweating and just profusely sweating, and that makeup's going to be gone in about 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Especially if it's not done professionally. Like if it's just slapdash, it's running off in 30 minutes tops.
Yeah.
And so we started with masks, and I've been comfortable with masks ever since. I'm okay with it. Like the only things I have to do are my eyes real fast, throw on the mask, get out there, get to work. If you do have the luxury of getting like a good makeup artist, say like Maddie or the people we used to work with, they can put the stuff on there that makes you not sweat, that stays and looks amazing, and all of a sudden your field of vision is increased 100-fold, and it's a lot better. I noticed that I did a lot more of my better slides when I had just face makeup instead of a mask, but I'm happy with either, and honestly, it's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you feel you can do. If you think you're okay with limited sight and you can still rock the position, do it. If you need makeup, do makeup. It's whatever. It's personal preference, really, is what it is.
Oh yeah. All right, Maddie, how about you?
I mean, again, my story is a little bit different. I do makeup and slides, so I have a lot of fun with doing my own makeup. I had some creative direction at the beginning because, I was a beauty makeup artist learning how to be creepy. So I got a lot of crap when I first started because I had put lashes on my clown. And people were like, why are you wearing lashes? You're literally supposed to be scary. I'm like, I don't care. My clown is going to have lashes and you're going to be okay with it. So it was the creative direction then that I was able to move things around. But, I wear a half mask and I'm okay with either. I'm pretty flexible with it. I could be wearing a full face mask or not. But of course, as an artist, it's kind of fun to get that joy out of doing your own makeup from time to time.
Oh yeah, and I bet I've noticed. I know exactly who it is that makes the half mask that you've been using. That's an Inferno Effects teeth mask. And
Inferno Effects, they are fantastic. I love their work.
They do great work.
I cannot stress this enough that Adrian Noriega, I believe that's how you pronounce his last name, one of the best artists I know. I've been talking with him. I'm going to be getting a custom paint Oni quarter mask that he just came out with.
Nice.
So I'm going to be making like an HP Lovecraft inspired Oni character. So
right on.
But yeah, so fun. I'm going to hold off on asking questions. Jake, would you like to get into some of your questions?
I've really only got one question that you guys haven't pretty much answered already. My question is, and if you can't answer it, that's fine, but what is the most overrated piece of slider equipment and what's the most underrated piece of slider equipment? What's one thing that everybody uses that doesn't really need to be used, and what's one thing that not enough people use?
That's a good one.
I feel like That would vary because when you say underrated, I immediately went to shin guards. But that's because for me, when I slide, because I have big old lady feet, like I got big feet. So my shins never like touch the ground, but I know like we've had another slider, his shins, like he destroyed his shin guards pretty much, didn't he, Alex?
Oh yeah, he went right through 'em.
Yeah, so I feel like that question varies depending on how you slide.
Yeah, it all depends on the style. I would say that, yeah, an underrated, overrated piece of equipment is those shin guards, because honestly, you can look at any slider in the industry and they either have it or they don't. And it's honestly all in how you slide. It's all in your personal style of sliding. Some people are heavier on their legs. Some people are heavier on their toes. Some people can go all the way up on their toes. It's all different. But if I was to slide without, say, my shin guards, my shins would be torn to shreds, absolutely torn to shreds. I've tried to get on the toes and I've tried to be comfortable on it, and it just doesn't work for me. I mean, you can teach an old dog new tricks and stuff, but sometimes I'm just way more comfortable and I do better scares when I have that piece of equipment there. The other piece I would think would be knee gaskets. Those are the little neoprenes you put underneath your pads on your skin so nothing is rubbing against the back of your knee. Because I learned that the first like 2 years, I was like, why are the backs of my knees always killing me after this? Why? Oh, because I'm rubbing constantly back and forth. Oh, that's why it's hurting. Okay, well, yeah. So yeah, it's the little tiny pieces of equipment that are either over or under. It really personal preference.
Yeah, like to put on that, I wear gaiters, little leather gaiters, and it's personal preference for me. I slide heavier on my shins, and Angel introduced me to some leather gaiters. They're, I think, meant to prevent against like snake bite or something like that.
Yeah.
Really, I don't know, relic time. But I find that it really works for me, and personally, they're underrated. But like, it wouldn't work for Angel or Emma. So it's like, it's all personal preference. But I definitely agree with the shin guards are up there.
And I mean, how many times have you been bitten by a snake while we've been scaring? I mean,
oh,
bagel. They work.
I could also say the steel toe boots. I get ones with, I know Angel and I have talked about this. I get ones with ankle guards that like they wrap up around your ankle to help protect your ankle a little more. I use those because I lean, like one of my boots on my right side. I'm just gonna show you my foot. Right here, I slide a lot more like on the side of my foot. So I feel like I need those personally because my ankles are a little wobbly and I know my ankles are a little weak. So that's another thing with like the preference and just knowing your body. It's like he has stronger ankles than me. So I feel like if I didn't have those, I probably would have twisted my ankle by now.
Yeah, it's basically like gearing up for an extreme sport. You'll see snowboarders put on snow boots and ankle guards and stuff like that. We basically do the same thing. Some people don't need certain items. Some people do need certain items. It doesn't matter. It's just whatever keeps you safest and most comfortable while you're doing it.
Yeah, and I can attest to what Maddie was saying about the snake bite gaiters, because I remember my first year at Fear the Woods, we had to shut the haunted house down because a full-size adult copperhead had found his way into the baby doll room.
Oh my goodness.
I remember my camera telling me about that. He called me that night and he's like, so this happened, and I was cackling. Because I'm like, of course that would happen.
Like, they evacuated the entire house. They had to get the sheriff's deputies to come in there. They shut everything down for a good 25 minutes in the house just to get that one snake out of there. Because it wasn't no baby. Like, the thing was at least this big around. It was a full-size adult copperhead.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. That's a showstopper.
Because the actor that was in that room, she got up to do her scare and looked down, saw him coiled right there up next to the baby crib in the baby doll room, and she immediately ran to the radio, and all you could hear, because I remember, because I was working with Weber that night, and I remember hearing it on the radio, Mr. Allen, please get someone in here. There's a snake.
He just wanted to get the spooky experience.
You got to radio back. Hey, use it before we have to take it away. Get a scare or two at least.
Work with it, improv.
Oh yeah.
Kick it up, get bitten, act it out.
We had a lot of flames at Dark Harbor, and we always said, hey guys, just remember, if you ever catch on fire accidentally, use it and then go jump in the harbor. Then it's fine. Like, at least get one scare or a couple on your way to the water, and then you can jump in the water, but don't waste it.
Our lives
New
for the
characters.
haunt.
Exactly.
Yeah,
New character, Snake Charmer.
Yup.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
All right. So
look, obviously the answer to that last question is obviously going to be knee pads are overrated. If you don't literally tear your knees down to the skin, are you really doing it right?
Or gloves, like
That's what.
finger bones. Do you really care? Are you really dedicated?
I mean, I've known a few guys who wore the fingerless gloves, and so all they needed was palm. But they were that good. They were that good that they did not need their fingertips, just their palms. So,
That's
like I
right.
said, it's a matter of personal preference. There's nothing really under or overrated. It's just what you decide is under or overrated.
If you're not tearing your skin and muscle off of your bone to become the giant 12-foot skelly boys, are you really doing this right?
Right.
All right, so I really only have one question for y'all. So, what does it actually take to be a slider?
Girls,
Like
you wanna-
mentally, physically, emotionally.
You want to feel this one, girls?
Knee cartilage.
I was about to say, me and Matt I still feel like I look like Bambi in that scene where he's on ice, and I would feel like it does take getting over that mental threshold of I'm literally hurling myself as fast and as hard as I can at this concrete, because of course every time I do it, my brain is screaming like, you're going to hurt yourself. What are you doing? You're gonna die. You're dumb. What are you doing? So I feel like it takes that. I'll be honest in the fact that I don't go to the gym. I don't work out at all in the off season. I probably should. You should probably work out more to slide, because when I'm not acting during the months we're haunting, I don't leave my bed. I'm just laying there, and I make people get food for me because I'm like, I can't get up. I'm dying. I'm weak.
Understandable.
My muscles have left me. So physically,
You just temporarily grow muscles during the haunt season.
basically, I get kind of ripped during the hot season, and then I do nothing to keep it up. And that's on depression. Anyway, and then what was it? Physically, mentally, yeah.
Anything
that's
emotionally.
that's a whole mood.
I guess for me, emotionally, it allows me in a way to like let out stuff that just like builds up throughout the year. Like, I always walk away after a night of sliding feeling like a little lighter, because I guess I don't know what I'm thinking about, but I let out like some physical aggression in what I think it's a healthy manner. Like, that's what haunting is. We're letting out all of our stuff in a healthy manner, in my opinion.
Ah, yes. Terrorizing children is a very healthy coping mechanism.
Traumatizing children is my favorite pastime, and I will do it until the day I die. If they pay for it, I will give it to them.
Buy the
Duly
ticket, take the
noted.
ride.
What I didn't know going into sliding was how much core strength it would take. Like, it's all abs and lower abdomen, and if you don't have that, you don't have control. And that was something that I didn't know going into it, and it definitely takes a lot out of you trying to control which direction you're trying to go. But I think that's what I would say. It really requires a lot of core strength.
Okay.
Love it. Basically, the slider is not even slightly saying a better haunt monster. It's just a little bit of a tougher haunt monster. And any job in the haunt industry is tough. It's tough as hell. This monster will chew you up and spit you out if you're not ready for it mentally and physically. So I want to say that when you're a slider, it takes a toll on everything all at once. Uh, your physical is going to get tested because you are basically doing a hit workout for however long your haunt is open. We used to be open 7 to midnight to 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, depending on the day. And basically from 7 to 1, you're working out. That's it. You are just working out. And a lot of you have said that, yeah, you lose a lot of weight during hot season. And that's absolutely true. You are just burning, 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 burning. And when you're a slider, it's twice as bad. You're not in a corner, you're not behind a murder wall. I mean, those are tough jobs too, but you're running after your prey. You're running after your prey. You've got your head on a swivel the entire time because there's people coming up behind you that want to think they're funny and want to jump on you or scare you. So you are constantly on edge, constantly on edge. And I think that's honestly the toughest part of the job is just we're not in a corner. We can't stay in a corner and everything's in front of us. Everything is all around us the entire time. And your head just has to be ready for everything mentally, physically, emotionally. You'll get berated. You'll get spit at. I've had my mask slashed with a razor. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy out there. So to be the front line, you have to be a different breed of crazy to kind of do it. So.
Gotcha. All right, well, Cam, I know you still had a whole bunch of questions lined up, so you go ahead and take it away.
All right, so now we're going to be getting a little bit deeper into things, more into the psychology sort of deal. And me and Jake have had a good little talk about, this particular section when it comes to character development and character psychology of different personas that you might depict in a haunt. I know with Jake, he likes like what he is in Q Line and Column Q with the Revelers and the Seekers. He's more of that. I don't know if you can correct me if I'm wrong here, Jake, but it's more of the insane man that was trapped in the museum and he's trying to scare you out of the museum because he just hates everyone.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. And like, because the museum is as much of a maze as it is, and I know it so well, it's like I know the shortcuts to get to different places before the guests do, and it's like I'm popping up everywhere. And whenever they ask me, it's like, how do you keep finding us? How do you keep getting ahead of us? I'm like, I am everywhere and stuff like that. And so that's kind of what I do whenever I'm in the museum queue. Whenever I'm in the column queue, I just even though I'm a 6'3", 300-pound dude, I can be sneaky when I want to throughout that column queue. So I'll always get in behind people taking pictures on their phones, and I'll be like, "What are we looking at?" and stuff like that. And they'll just and like my face will be right next to theirs. And I've gotten hit before doing that. Like people just don't realize that I'm right next to them until it's too late. It's just different things, how you go about things. I'm sure sliders have their own scare psychology, and I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah, so that actually leads perfectly into the question here is when it comes to developing your characters, and I know when it comes to the slider side of things, you do somewhat adapt your character psychology to exactly what it is they're doing. So in y'all's words and in y'all's minds, what is your character psychology? Say if you're creating a new character or the characters that you portray now, what is the psychology that you put in behind those characters? And let's start with Emma on this one.
I feel like I made Beep Beep on such a whim. There wasn't really a psychology into her because I never really planned on bringing her outside of like my room and making stupid TikToks. And the haunt director, Teresa, because as we can attest, she is just a goddess and she's a wonderful human being. I adore her. And she encouraged me. She's like, well, because I did have a character Zombabe, and right now she's retired at the time being, and I was struggling, and she saw my TikToks, and she's like, you should just bring Beep Beep into that. So I feel like for me and my slider character, I kind of developed her around the psychology of sliding, which is just like, I'm sure Angel can go into a lot more about this because he knows more than me, but like the abrupt sound of when we're sliding and the fact that we're coming down at you from below by your ankles, and that's just a really common thing that freaks people out, is like they're coming for my toes or whatever it is, like they're gonna get me from down below, and I don't like that. So that's just, and she just kind of like, I guess her psychology is just like the uncomfortable insanity, and she likes to be as loud as possible. Like I built out the loudest scream I can at people because it will overload them, and then like Sunny D or Rash can come up and scare them while they're staring at me in shock because I'm just screaming my lungs out at them for no reason.
And then of course the black it goes everywhere, and that, I guess that sets Angel and Maddie up even better then.
Yeah, and I do love to drool the black ick. I love to drool. It's so gross. I hate drool, and that's why I do it, because I know how much I hate it. So everyone else must hate it as much as me.
All right, Maddie, how about you?
Yeah, I don't really bring a lot of my character's background in psychology into sliding because it's a totally different sport. Like, while you like to think that, you know, you have that in the back of your mind, I'm more focused on making sure I don't run into anyone. Like, a part of being in the haunt is being versatile, right? You have to be able to be so many different characters. And there is a safety, you know, alarm in your head that goes off more in the forefront, where you're making sure you're not going to hit anyone with your slide, ducking between legs, not going to get kicked. Like, you're focusing on so much, you have to be able to adapt your character to whatever situation you're trying to do, whether it's a short scare, whether it's I'm chasing you across the parking lot. Like, there's so many different characters to your character, if that makes sense.
Okay. Angel, how about you?
Well, the girls are right. Basically, when you're in your first couple of years, you're more focused on, I don't want to kill this person that I'm about to scare. Literally, I don't want to kill this person. So I can attest to that. The first couple of years, you're just worried about you, and you're not really into the psychology. You know what? The noise is going to get them. That's all I need to worry about right now. I've been doing it for, like I said, 17 years, and my character has been a cowboy, a pirate, shore patrol officer. I've been a steampunk scientist, a clown, a Barker clown. It just keeps changing. And so I think the psychology of the scare just kind of goes with the character that you're portraying at the time. I'm weird. I'm weird in that way that I've always seen my character Rash as someone who's just leaping from body to body, kind of like Dr. Sam Beckett in Quantum Leap. I'm sorry to date myself. That's a really old show. But just jumping from body to body, or scary body to scary body, going, oh God, what am I this time? I'm a clown. Okay, cool. Let's do clown things with scaring or with sliding. And next time you're a pirate. Okay, do pirate things with sliding. Like, it all changes in your head, whatever you want it to be. You just take your character and you put it out there, but sliding is just the tool in you bringing that character to life. Whereas the girls right now, I know they're still brand new, so they're trying to get used to that tool before they start saying, okay, now this is Sunny D with sliding, or this is Beep Beep with sliding. Right now it's just, don't die. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. But yeah, it's whatever you want it to be. It's whatever you think is going to scare these people, and you've got a couple of choices. You can scare them, you can make them laugh, or you can just entertain them. But you got to do something. I mean, maybe your slide doesn't scare that person. They just look at you like, ugh, whatever. You get up and be like, okay, well, you're a dead scare. And, you just give them something to laugh at or something to smile at. Either way, that guest has to leave with some sort of reaction. If they leave not even looking at you or numb, maybe you're doing something wrong. Try again.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see here. So let me get my list back up here. All right. So when it comes to your scare tactics, this is something that we all love to talk about when we get to talk shop with other haunters. When it comes to your psychology of the actual scare itself, what do you find yourself tending to lean towards doing the most when it comes to bringing that psychology to really get the scare on the people?
I mean, I'll go first. Let the girls think about this one. I've done it enough to know. Like I said, I want that reaction. I don't care what kind of reaction it is. I don't care if you scream. I don't care if you laugh. I don't care if you cry, but you're going to do something. And so my first reaction is always scare them hard, make them fall on the ground, make them pee their pants, make them cry. If you can't, well, we better do something that's going to make them fall on their butts or cry or laugh or something. And my first is always the noise. The noise that a slider makes when they hit the ground. I don't know any other way to reproduce it. I mean, I've heard shovels, I've heard pans, I've heard everything, but that plastic hitting asphalt, there's no other sound like it in the world. And man, does that just bring you right to that moment. You're sitting there talking with your friends, laughing, okay, our friends here. The minute you hear, you lose it. And you see it, I see it a lot actually now in Seattle because there was no sliders up here. Not that I saw anyway. I went to a couple of local haunts, and a lot of them were corn mazes or just walk through the woods type stuff, and there's not a lot of asphalt. And Nile Nightmares was the first place I saw it, and I was like, I could clean up here. Like, there's nobody here. I need to get a team here. I need to get something going because this is virgin territory. This is the place. And sure enough, man, that first year, I've never seen such genuine, awesome reactions. Like I did it for 13 years in Southern California, and I mean, every park has them, and they get to see it. So it's not as scary as much. Like you see it all the time, but up here in Seattle, no one had seen it. So they're just sitting there in complete awe of it and just not knowing what is happening. And I got to tell you, that's an awesome feeling to just watch those people's reactions. It's like I'm doing it for the first time all over again. It's amazing.
Yeah, very interesting take on that. And I do have to attest to that when it comes to the sound of the sliders, because I know Lee Pennington, the first show runner at Netherworld, he's one of our sliders as well, but he's mainly in the show actually doing the tech stuff, making sure everything's, firing the way it's supposed to.
Nice.
He actually gets on the bridge into the Netherworld side of first show, and he will actually like full on slide on this metal grate bridge at the customers. And it's a sound that it's way different than when it hits asphalt, and it's just so weird to hear it.
Oh yeah.
But you know he's there when you hear it because he sparks his gloves over the rails as well.
Nice.
So he has fun with that. So Maddie, what do you think?
I would definitely agree with the noise. And noisemakers. Like Angel helped me fall in love with these, and their horns, their squeakers, their everything. And noisemakers can do a lot. It's interesting to think that you could do so little and yet do so much at the same time, because to us we're just dropping on the ground, but to a passerby we're scaring the crap out of them. So it's to his point that there's not a lot of sliders in Washington, and it's true. There's not a lot of tactics that you have to use quite yet because they're just excited to see you in general, and it's cool to play on that there's not a lot of people seeing sliders on Washington.
It's almost like the noise is enough.
Yeah.
All right, Emma, what's your take on this?
After real quick, after Emma's take, we got time for about maybe one more question for everyone to answer.
Okay. I feel like for me, it varies because I slide most of my nights at Nile Nightmares, but because during our haunt season, we're open Friday to Sunday, and Sundays are dead nights because we are a volunteer group, so we have a lot of kids from like high schools getting their required volunteer hours, so they can't act those nights. So for me, the psychology behind it depends on where I put it. Like, if I'm sliding, then my psychology is the loud noise and coming at them from like a below angle almost. And then like, if I'm in the asylum, then I might use just being silent and just not blinking or whatever. So for me, that question varies a lot because I try to stay diverse in what I do, and I try to fill whatever role it is. And I feel like every role kind of has a different psychology within it. and I try my best to adapt myself to whatever the role needs.
Okay. Let me see. Jake, do you have a question for him?
Sorry about that.
Okay,
Yes. So no, I do not have a I don't have any more questions really because all of my questions have been answered. I guess I don't know. Unless Cameron, you got one more?
Let me see. I do actually, believe it or not.
All right.
So when it comes to different acting styles in the haunt industry, which one is your absolute favorite? The one that just makes you go, "Oh my God, yes, I love this. I'm going to do this more."
I feel like for me it would definitely be cue acting, because I love acting in the house because it's just such a brief interaction, and because it's so brief you want to make as big of an impact as you can for that person. But I like being in the queue because you can like really interact with people. Like you can overhear just enough things to like really get to them. Like if you find out their name or something, then you can use that and you can just constantly keep going to somebody that like you're just like, this person's really fun. Like I'm having fun. They're scared, but they're still clearly having a good time. I want to keep partying with them. And then you can keep doing that, and then there's a bigger chance they'll come back the next year and be like, oh, I want to see that cool person that I saw on the line last time. Like I want to go hang out with them. And then you get the repeat customers who bring their friends, and they're like, yeah, that's Sunny D over there. She's my girl. She's my homie. And that just kind of, it feels really cool when people come back and they remember you and they want to see you and they want to see like, do you have anything new to bring to the table for me so I can enjoy you more? So I feel like cue acting is really like, I feel like I'm happiest there.
You people represent. Hey.
Cue. So the risk
Oh, yeah.
is really high because you get decked in the face, or I got put in a chokehold last year. It has its good and it's got its bad, but I feel like for me the good outweighs the bad for the
Oh yeah.
most.
Absolutely.
Yep.
All right, Maddie.
Well, I guess I was a little confused by the question. I would definitely agree that cue acting is a lot of fun. It's it takes a specific type of person, I think, to be a cue actor, especially even more so as women being in cue actors. You got drunk men going through the lines. Like you have to know how to handle yourself and them and handle it in a way that's proper. But as for specific style of acting, I would say I love being a clown. You have that benefit, as Angel talked about, being, funny, or you could be scary at the same time. So I don't know. I like being a cue line clown.
Oh yeah. All right. So to wrap it all up, we got Angel coming in with the final answer, and then we'll go on and we'll close the episode out.
Okay, so I'm sorry. The question, once again, just to be completely clear, is
when it comes to the haunt world, the different styles that you have to choose from in acting, what is your absolute favorite one to choose?
Entertainer. Entertainer is my favorite because you can be the scary person, you can be the funny person, you can be the silly person, you can be the creepy person going through. You basically have to read your crowd. You have to see what they're into. If it's a crowd of older people, well, then you're going to go with some quick scares and some little frights and say their name, and that really gets them going. If it's the younger kids, again, read the room. Do they want to see you do a floss dance and laugh and take pictures with you? Like you really have to read the room, and that will tell you basically what character you're doing that night. You may be in the mood to be the darkest, creepiest person into their souls. I will steal everything. Bunch of kids don't care about that. They really don't. So you have to adjust. You have to change your persona. And like I said, it's really read the room and see what's going on and go with that. Whatever that situation may be, go with that. If it doesn't work, change it up again. You have to be flexible in this industry. You really have to be flexible. Because I've I've seen those people who are just that completely committed, terrifying person, and they can't stop for anything else. But I mean, you have to adjust.
Yeah. Good answers there, guys. Those were some really good takes on that. So that's going to do it for our questions. So we're going to go on into exit of the episode here. So real quick before we get off, I just want to say once again, thank you so much to Northwest Possess for being willing to come in here and just hang out and chat with us for a bit. Y'all have any social medias or anything y'all want to plug?
We are on Instagram, Northwest Possess. You can find us there. And we are usually at the Nile Nightmares. They are on Instagram and Facebook as well.
All
We're
right.
also on TikTok.
Yeah, y'all
We're
can
also on
find
TikTok.
any-
That's right. I'm sorry. I'm old, so I don't know about this. Maddie's actually in charge of that.
I'll have to follow y'all on TikTok then. Perfect. If y'all have any personal social medias that y'all would like to plug, y'all are more than welcome to do that as well.
I'm Undead Irma on pretty much all the social medias now. Just Undead, then ERMA, all one word, no underscores. I'm too cool for underscores.
All right, Maddie, you got any?
Oh, we're tagged all in the Northwest Possess, so if you need to find us individually, you can find us on that page.
All right, perfect. So, yeah, once again, thank you so much to Northwest Possess for being willing to come on and talk with us. Jake, are you still with us here?
Indeed, I am.
All right, so just to close this out, would you like to announce who our next guest on episode 3 of Demonic Discussions will be, since you are the mastermind that pulled this off?
So our next guest will be a haunt actor known as Pongo Joe. And he graciously accepted my invitation to record the podcast. I'm in contact with him, acted with him in Netherworld several times. Really great dude. He has several famous characters. He's got Pongo. He's got his Boogeyman character. He just came out with one called Mr. Nope. And
Love Mr. Nope.
me too.
The little Pee Wee Herman doll just makes it.
Exactly.
I was crying, like both in like terror and just joy because I love him and all of his characters, but just Mr. Nope really tickles something for me.
Oh yeah, I
He
know
also
Garrett.
makes our caps.
What was
Oh, that's right. He does make recaps. I'm definitely gonna have
Mhm.
to have a talk with him about that when we get him on to the next.
They're pretty
episode.
bomb.
I bought
Yeah.
recaps. I still have to put them on. I have to get the Velcro, and then I do have gloves from him, and I did test his gloves out on that rainy day, and they were fun.
I trip out on Pongo. He's such a good dude. His kneecaps are second to none. They are amazing. They actually lasted up in our asphalt, and up here in Seattle, all our asphalt just turns to like grist instantly. You cannot get on that stuff without shredding pads to Swiss cheese. It's crazy. And Pongo's lasted the whole year. And what's really funny is Pongo came to the Queen Mary's Dark Harbor the year after I left. And so again, now on to this podcast after I've been on. So I feel like Pongo's following me. And I love that. I absolutely love that. Pongo, I love you. You're the best, man.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we're gonna be having him on the next episode. So y'all be sure to tune in. If you like the podcast, be sure to drop us a subscribe down there. You can click the bell to turn on your post notifications. You'll get notified when we upload any content here to this channel. Once again, thank you guys so much for coming on. We really do appreciate it. I know we're just a starting podcast, just trying to get started up, and I appreciate that y'all are willing to give us your time for this. And I know me, Jake, Macy, we're all very appreciative that y'all were willing to do this with us, and it was a blast being able to talk with y'all, and hope we'll be able to talk with y'all more in the future. We'll definitely have to get y'all on for round 2 for sure.
Love it.
So,
Absolutely.
all right.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
So,
Thank you
for
for having
Demonic-
us.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
You're very welcome. So, for Demonic Discussions, this is Cameron Pierce. We have Jake Phillips and Macy Monahan, and we will catch you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys for watching. See you soon.